Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm actually at the spearfishing store in Plymouth. It's called Start Point Spearfishing and this is where I now work. This is my job, working here 4 days a week. I haven't mentioned it yet, I've been too busy out spearfishing and talking about fish, but actually this is now a massive part of my life and I'm very, very excited to be working here. It is kind of my dream. And I'm going to do an entire video on this separately. That's not what this video is about. This video is about a recent winter spearfishing trip that was totally epic. So last week, we're now late January, I went out spearfishing with Matthew Shaw, who's on the Start Point team here, and also Spearfin, who has his own channel. You should go and check it out. I'll put a link in the description. So two really capable spearos. Very, very excited to try and find some winter fish. It's always a challenge, but we launched the boat in Cornwall and we went out and this is what happened.
Anchor's deployed.
Anchor's definitely deployed.
We're in the drink. Excellent. Bloody hell, look at that. I haven't had fish like this for
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular.
So to begin our day, we just drop anchor in a shallow cove, literally just to warm up the lungs, warm up the legs and start diving. I always do an espeto on my first dive, which just means waiting to see what fish are around, rather than going for a swim anywhere. The water temperature is noticeably colder than even my dive a couple of weeks before. The watch was now showing 10 degrees, so it was not really worth staying in this spot for too long because it didn't look that fishy. So you could see that first cove there, I did about 5 dives, wasn't that eventful. The first thing to note was there wasn't that much current, there wasn't really any flow of water there, and also there wasn't that much reef. There were sandy patches, so it may have been good for flatfish, but we couldn't see many fish in the water column other than wrasse there. A bit low on current, a bit low on structure. So we decided to get on the boat and we went 2 kilometres out, exactly 2 kilometres to a pinnacle. So I tend to find the best spots to fish around pinnacles are where the tide actually hits the pinnacle. On my first dive, you can see down here I land on some kelp stipes in water that's a bit shallow really, and the current is running through quite strong and there's never going to be any fish here, but all the same it's a good warm-up. My next dive is much more in the zone I want to be. I'm in about 16 meters here and you can see there's lots of big granite boulders which are breaking up the current, so the fish can shelter out of the current and ambush their prey. I get my eyes on this 3-pound pollock quite early. I decide just to wait a bit longer to check there's nothing better on offer like any larger pollock or bream before taking the shot. So after catching my first pollock, I'd flown in the tide a bit, so Matt picked me up, took me back up tide. Pretty disappointing, but what happened next often happens to me when I get really focused. So I pushed away from the pinnacle a bit to do a deeper dive into 20 meters. So I was really focusing on just being entirely relaxed. And often when I do this, I forget to hit record on my GoPro. Unfortunately, I just flicked the camera on as I was coming to the surface, but you can see the fish being retrieved here.
This was my third dive and third fish. Really nice dark kind of kelp pollock. Came out of the gloom, and I actually didn't film it. I forgot to press film. I filmed retrieving it from the kelp, but it was a perfect stone shot, so I was really happy, and can't wait to batter that one as a winter warmer at home. So I'm very extremely happy to have a nice end of January fish.
Awesome, lovely fish.
I don't want to make it seem like you have to dive deep in the winter to get fish. It can certainly help with species like pollock, but as you'll see next, Matt had a little cove up his sleeve that we took the boat into, and it was absolutely packed with fish. So mullet are really a staple fish of the winter dives. They can be found pretty much everywhere as long as you're looking in the shallows. They don't tend to be too deep, and you also need the right weather. You need nice calm weather. These conditions were absolutely perfect for mulleting. Just the case of swimming up into the shallows, quick duck dive, and the fish were swarming.
So you can see in there's some nice fallen rocks with the green weed on, so we just popped in over there, and there were huge schools of mullet, and they were coming past for as long as my breath hold. I decided to take one of the standout fishes. Terrible shot, and I think the only reason it held was because I had a double flopper, so that was quite interesting. I shot really low because my gun was being a bit buffeted by the swell, but just goes to show, late January, 10-degree water, there's still plenty of mullet around if you're in the right spot.
So just tucked in by a rock, and just saw hundreds of mullet swimming past.
Yeah.
And just a question of picking them off as they swim past.
Yeah.
So yeah, really happy with that.
Yeah.
Lovely fish for the table.
Yeah, brilliant fish.
So with a couple of mullet, I actually didn't manage to film the second one. Again, I was really happy because open water mullet from locations like this taste absolutely delicious. They were also full of roe, which is really tasty. I do intend to do a video on how I cook my mullet roe soon, because although it may look a bit disgusting, it's actually really good to eat. So we had about an hour of daylight left, and I had one spot I really wanted to try, again slightly deeper, but this is a pretty crazy story. When I got to this spot, I literally couldn't dive it because there were too many fish there. So the pinnacle I'm trying to dive can be really good mark. I was actually looking forward to diving it all day, but as I got towards the pinnacle, there were just so many herring that I couldn't see if there were going to be any bigger predators hunting them. It was no good. I tried another dive, through the herring, but as I got to about 6-7 meters, it just went completely dark, so I was never going to be able to hunt effectively. There were bound to be some big predators hunting these fish, but I just wouldn't be able to see them. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. Like I said, I am looking forward to making a video on what's been going on with my career and, you know, how I'm basically going full-time spearfishing, which is really, really exciting for me. Thanks so much for watching, and really appreciate your comments as well. I'm really enjoying the interactions with subscribers, making this content, going out diving. So thanks so much for your support. Please do drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you at the next one. Cheers.